Their delusion has caused their undoing, as they are proved to be only cradle stories woven by a mastercraft of priesthood and preceptor to lull into false sleep the crying infants of an evolving race. Those who saw further afield did not cry, and thus were not lulled to sleep. Most of them saw that the cradle stories were not true, and many stepped boldly forth to erase the untruth, as they saw directly through to the absolute, that which has always existed and which has always been seen and known and contacted directly by a portion of mankind. From this portion there will arise a new and more vitalizing consciousness, fully awake and ready to erase the idols that man has set up for his fellow man to follow, and make room for the new ideals, which are as old as creation's dawn. These will demand of those who teach, lead, or inspire the race consciousness that they shall do it from a plane of actual living contact so high that there can be no mistake of contradiction, and on a plane of interpretation that is so simple that it cannot be misunderstood. The awakening tiger of higher intelligence and spirituality will refuse to sleep again, as it is already ravaged with the fragments of the past and disappointed with the torture of misplaced confidence. It will demand a stronger and more vital thought with instruction based upon truth itself. The multitudes are now listening over the heads of the past centuries with their creed-bound traditions to the old message that to the newly born is working its unfoldment into the hearts and lives of mankind. This new old message is the clarion call that is heard above the changing voices of creed-bound priesthood. It is louder than the voice of battle. It is louder and clearer than the muffled contradictions of financial, industrial, political, and religious lies. In spite of the creed-bound thoughts of a portion of humanity, their traditional and idolized ideas of God, of Christ and man, of self, of life and death, all must go. And in the absolute freedom from these preconceived ideas, there must pass, and thus be erased, all that was built upon them. There is looming upon the horizon of this new approach of redemption that has an entirely new meaning. The new multitude coming out of this clearer vision and more definite perception is redeemed through the deeper revelation emanating out of all races and all people. That emanation is the one life that is in all and through all. In spite of the delusion-bound multitude, their clinging hands and cringing attitude, a greater and more noble vista of the expanding horizon of God, the Christ of man, Christ of God, of self, and death itself, is looming, and another cycle of spirit is dawning for the whole world. Another age of crystal races coming up out of the maelstrom. Whenever a people or nation think of God as absolute, that people or nation is God. God is established unto them. As they love, worship, and reverence that ideal, they do become God. In the fullness of time, they have reached their heritage, that which was first and is established in spirit. Whenever an individual thinks of God, he is God. God is established unto him. Breathe life into humanity. It means the same. God